Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Wes Decker, coming to you from the famous Keeneland Racecourse this week in Lexington, Kentucky. And here at Keeneland, two things seemingly are always in abundance: thoroughbreds and money. Now, I have no problem finding the horses. As for the money, that can be a bit elusive and somewhat frustrating because just this month, the world's most expensive necklace has gone on sale in Singapore. That is called El Incomparable. And not only would that egg-shaped gold necklace look good around my neck, it would be a great birthday present. Now, I don't feel right asking somebody to spend a cool $55 million. No, I'm willing to try to procure that money myself. So for that, I turn to one of the betologists here at Keeneland. Lindsay, any way you can help me with that 55 mil?
If I did, I wish I could. But you know what, though? Maybe not $55 million, but maybe some good pocket change, maybe, perhaps.
Well, we'll work on it
Right.
after I'm finished with the business at hand here. It might be Mission El Impossible, but we'll see before all is said and done here at Keeneland. What I can tell you, those who have been money in the fall sports season so far, including Williamsport volleyball and South Hagerstown football in particular, one player who was looking to etch his name in the all-time county record book this week, part of our featured football game. Maybe his last name should be Benjamin, but it's simply Smith. Mr. Smith and the exploits of his team, the Rebels against Smithsburg, coming up in our featured game right after this.
Behind every great child, there is a great foundation. Premier Martial Arts will empower your child and give them a premier foundation to success. Our instructors have the passion to teach classes designed to build premier skills. Your child will develop greater self-control, confidence, and concentration. Premier Martial Arts will take your child up the path of greatness. Call Premier Martial Arts today.
Honey, I just got the mail. We got 6 new bills today.
We don't have enough money.
Mommy, will we still get to live in our house?
It may be time to consider bankruptcy. Call Bodie Law. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family.
Injured on the job? Been denied compensation? Need money for medical bills and lost wages? Know your rights. Insurance companies have lawyers, and so should you. Protect yourself. Call Bodie Law, your Hagerstown legal team, for help at 888-823-1255. It's what we do for you that counts.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. Now, I certainly wanted to share more of Keeneland with you, although I guess I could have said what happens in Keeneland stays in Keeneland, but, well, here's the proof. I told you this would look good around my neck, and thanks to Lindsay for helping me out with this. Now, it might not be the true El Incomparable, but at least it's El Impostor, and I'm willing to take this. Now, it might be symbolic of our featured football game because both teams wanted the egg that was laid by the Golden Goose. They didn't want to go out and lay an egg on Friday night. To me, and perhaps I was the only one, our featured game provided some intrigue despite the team's disparate records. Yes, the Smithsburg Leopards were 0-4 and on an overall 5-game losing streak. And yes, the South Hagerstown Rebels were 3-1 and came in riding a 2-game winning streak. But the matchup did give us South Hagerstown's county best scoring offense against Smithsburg's county best scoring defense. And the Leopards, who were averaging the least amount of points per game so far, might just be catching the break they needed going up against the Rebels D, which was second worst at allowing points. After all, Smithsburg's margin of defeat so far this season was just 4.8 points per game. So I'm on to something, right? Maybe, but South has a weapon named Smith, senior running back Isiaha Smith, who rolled into School Stadium having scored 44 more points and 8 more touchdowns himself than the entire Smithsburg team. Smith also entered Friday night less than the number of yards he was averaging per carry, 12.3, away from making history. Coming off a career-high 364-yard performance a week ago, Smith was on the verge of becoming the county's all-time career rushing yardage leader, and it wasn't if, but when he would do it on Friday. So the question wasn't, would he take down former Leopard Andy Reid's mark, but would he also take down Reid's old school in the process? It was homecoming at South Hagerstown, a game Smith's teammates were certainly amped up for despite the inavailability of starting quarterback Brandon Jackson, who would sit out as a precaution with an injured shoulder, meaning that head coach Toby Peer would be preparing for his son's first varsity start. And the Rebel defense would gift wrap him favorable field position on the game's first series, courtesy of the big hit on Smithsburg quarterback Dylan Curtis by Josiah Johnson that knocked the ball free for Craig Coffin to scoop up at the Leopard 32-yard line. Just a minute 24 into the game, TJ Peer went right to work, connecting with Marcel Jones for 7 yards. Then 5 plays later, Peer handed to Smith, who was in the end zone, had the record, and had South in front 7-0. Then it was more Josiah Johnson, this time bringing down Curtis for a loss of 4 at the Smithsburg 30. A 3-and-out resulted in South, then going on a 12-play, 74-yard march that culminated in Peer's 6-yard touchdown toss to not Sonny Crockett, but Dom Johnson with 56 seconds left in the opening quarter. Trailing 14-0 and starting at their own 16, Smithsburg moved the chains for the first time on Curtis's quick screen to Ben Bush, good for 15 yards. However, that possession, like their first of the second quarter, would end in a punt, and the Rebel offense took to the air again with the sophomore Peer hitting Cole Barnhart for a key first down to the 46. And 2 plays after, it was the money man, appropriately enough dressed in green, who paid off the drive from 48 yards, Smith's 17th touchdown of the season and South Hagerstown's 3rd of the night. With the lead at 21, the South D continued to make the night a miserable one for the Smithsburg O, not giving an inch and forcing another Leopard punt that Jake Boudelier prevented from going much more than an inch, setting his offense up in the red zone for number 39 to take it back to the end zone on the very next play. It would be Smith's final carry of the night, more on that later, as the Rebels took a 28-0 lead to halftime, leaving Leopard head coach Buddy Orndorff to formulate a new strategy while throwing a wet blanket all over my intrigue. South opened the second half by threatening to add to its lead until Arthur Hopkins stepped up for Smithsburg and put the clamps on Peer, and there was more Leopard defense on display when Joe Schwartz picked off Peer to halt the next Rebel possession at the Smithsburg 40. The Leopards penetrated as deep as the South 38, but no further thanks to Ramal Martinez planting Curtis, where the Rebels would take it back on downs. Though they would only need the ball as long as it would take DeMaurier James to scoot 62 yards to the house to up the lead to 35 with 2:02 remaining in the third period. From there, South would turn a Martinez fumble recovery into a Braden Tyner field goal midway through the fourth before Garrett Spinks returned the ensuing kickoff all the way back to the Rebel 20-yard line, giving Smithsburg just over 3 minutes to try to avert the shutout, which the Leopards would do on Curtis's keeper 4 plays later to make the final score 38-6, South Hagerstown's 3rd straight W in the series. As for Isaiah Smith's night, one where he left his footprints in the record book, he unceremoniously left School Stadium in an ambulance at halftime. Despite being severely dehydrated, he managed to run for 141 yards and 3 touchdowns in the 24 minutes of action he saw before exiting. Smith now has 3,958 yards rushing in his career and 1,227 for the season, meaning that he's now 778 yards away from breaking his own single-season mark of 2004, set just last year. The Rebels do expect to have Smith and quarterback Brandon Jackson back at full strength this week. Incidentally, TJ Peer passed for 84 yards and a touchdown. He did throw 1 interception in his first ever varsity start. The defense aided his cause by coming to play, holding Smithsburg to fewer than 60 yards of offense and coming up with a pair of takeaways. That's 8 now in the last 2 games for that South defensive unit, who will take its talents to Brunswick Friday night to battle the 2 and 3 Railroaders. Meanwhile, the Leopards, who so far this year have been outscored by Isaiah Smith 108-52, will be out to snap an overall losing streak that is now at 6 games when they play the team who has scored the second fewest points in the county, Clear Spring, in our Antietam Cable game Saturday afternoon. It'll be homecoming at Smithsburg. There's more football coming up in the show. In fact, when you come back, I'll talk Boonsboro football with Tyler Hollis and Vincent Smith-DeLeo right after this.
At Murray's Tire and Auto, we were here for you then, and we're here for you now. While the way we look might have changed over the years, the quality of the work you've come to count on remains the same. From preventive maintenance services to emissions repairs to major and minor mechanical work. Plus, Murray's carries Cooper and other major brands of tires and uses state-of-the-art equipment to accommodate all rim and tire sizes. And now shopping for tires has never been easier. At Murray's, your family's safety behind the wheel is important to us as our own. Enjoy old-fashioned service with all the modern conveniences at Murray's Tire and Auto. Still here for you in Williamsport. Antietam Cable is pleased to announce another exciting innovation, Antietam To Go. Antietam To Go lets you watch TV shows on your computer or portable device, laptop, tablet, smartphone. Watch what you want, when you want, where you want from the most popular networks on television. Power Antietam To Go with Antietam high-speed internet for the perfect entertainment combo. Just visit myactv.net/Antietam To Go to get started. It's TV your way with Antietam To Go, free with your TV subscription. Thank you for being an Antietam Cable customer.
Welcome back to the show. I'm joined now by a couple of Boonsboro football players, Tyler Hollis and Vincent Smith-DeLeo. Welcome to the show, guys. Great to have you here. Coming off the big win over Brunswick on Friday night, 38-0. First shutout of the year, Vincent. Let me start with you. Last year, the team shut out opponents 6 times. It was a banner year in 2012. Defense hasn't been quite as good this year, but I think if somebody would have said to you before the season started, hey, 4-1 through the halfway point of the season, probably would have been pretty happy with that.
Yeah, we've got a lot of size issues in a way. We got a lot of small guys. Our biggest player was 6'2", about 220, 230. We've had a lot of injuries this year so far.
And it really makes it tough now that you've moved up in classification to 2A. It just doesn't get any easier. And Tyler, let me turn to you. A big offensive game for you on Friday night.
Anything I can do for my team, help out, score a touchdown, doesn't really matter to me, whatever.
Well, I think Vincent alluded to it a little bit, the fact that, you are limited in terms of numbers. So guys have to do a lot of different things, and obviously, playing both ways first and foremost. But the week before against Williamsport, Trevor Walsh on one particular series runs, catches a pass, and throws one, and then all of a sudden you were kind of a jack of all trades on Friday night against Brunswick. And tell me a little bit about that game against Brunswick and you playing defense too, wreaking a lot of havoc, getting into the backfield a lot in that game. That was one of those games maybe you had circled on that schedule after losing to them in the playoffs last year?
Last year, beating them like we did the first game and then coming back and then losing like we did, it definitely, I guess, made all of us angry.
Yeah.
So I guess we just want to come out with intensity and show them that that's not the team that we are.
And
as hard as we can.
I think they got the message on Friday night. That was a good, solid victory for you guys. And Vincent, coming back to you on this, on the defensive side, 2 fourth-down stops in that game that were very big. You really helped the offense in terms of setting them up with great field position all night long. Yeah. What was working defensively?
We did a lot of different packages, lots of different formations, different blitz calls to confuse their line. Coach Hirsch talked about it a lot. We just need to show a lot of different fronts to keep them off guard and get in the backfield.
And there was one series there where Brunswick had the football. They were deep in their own end, and you thought you might have a safety, but just not quite.
I thought I had it, but I guess not. The refs didn't feel like I did, but on film it kind of showed, but I guess not.
Yeah, it looked like they were back in the end zone, but nonetheless, get the ball back and
that's all that matters.
Put together a drive there. And you also had a pass breakup, I think, on a third down play that forced them into a punt. It seemed like they were punting all night long. And this offense, and I mentioned this during our Antietam Cable game against Williamsport, just a real stable of running backs this year. How do you think that is helping the offense in terms of being able to have so many options to give the football to?
I don't know. The running backs they just are athletic, I guess. The quarterbacks this year, they don't have to do anything except hand the ball off and let the running backs do what they do.
I'll tell you, the quarterback's going to love to hear that. Just manage the football game is what you're saying.
They don't have to do.
Right.
They don't have all the pressure on them that much.
Yeah, and does it surprise you, Vincent, this year, the football's in the air a little bit more with Jeff Bennett, the junior, really stepping in now on the varsity level. Yeah. They're finding Ethan Foster a lot out of the backfield too, but he's been pretty good with decision making when he does throw the football.
Yeah, he's improved a lot over the summer, and coach felt confident in him and giving him the ball a lot more, and he's a real asset to our team.
And coming up on Friday night, you get a North Hagerstown team. You get into a part of the schedule now where, Tyler, Vincent mentioned it, a lot of injuries at this point, at least guys being nicked up, some guys out of there, not a whole lot of size to begin with. how do you kind of suck it up knowing what you're going to face on Friday night? Because you're going to see a lot of size, you're going to see a lot of athleticism, a lot of speed. How do you approach this game?
Well, North's a good team. I mean, they always have been, 3A. But I guess we approach it like we do every single other game. Prepare, then go out and play Boonsboro football.
Yeah, well, that's gotten it done here over the course of both of your careers. A lot more wins than losses for sure. And we wish you the best of luck the rest of the way. Right now in the third slot in the 2A West playoff standings at the moment. Hopefully, you can keep that up, maybe even improve the position here as the season goes. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'll be back right after this. I've got Williamsport volleyball players in the house in just a moment.
Boxes are good for a number of things, but not as your flooring store.
Excuse me, where can I find your ceramic tile expert?
Ceramic tile expert? You're looking at him.
But aren't you the...
Ceramic tile expert.
At Carpet Gallery, flooring isn't just one of the things we do, it's the only thing we do. And when they say free, we say, really? Here, you'll meet with flooring and ceramic tile experts with over 70 years of experience, and that's for real, and that's real value. Trust Carpet Gallery for all your flooring needs and think outside the box.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. We continue now with a couple of Williamsport volleyball players, Courtney Malott and Brooklyn Welch. Welcome to the show, and we're going to talk a little bit of volleyball in this segment. Courtney, let me begin with you. And as it relates to this year's Williamsport team, 7-2 right now, 2-1 in the Antietam Conference. Give me a little idea of the dynamic of this year's team versus, say, last year, because it was such an emotional roller coaster and your motivation, came from sort of outside. Yeah. Now, this year, this team in and of itself, talk about it.
We always have the same goal, to get another banner, to get another number on that banner another year. But it's a lot different of a team, a different dynamic completely. We're a lot scrappier. We have 8 seniors, so that's a lot of leadership. We don't have that go-to hitter anymore like last year. We're working a lot harder for every point we play, which is new to us because our 3 years of high school so far, we've just come out and killed. Now everyone's going after that 2A state champs, and we're fighting for it.
Yeah, Brooklyn, this year, obviously, you have the target on your backs with that state championship attached to Williamsport once again. Tell me about, and Courtney hit on it, this is a different team this year. You don't have a lot of height on this team. How is the way that you have to approach these games? What type of adjustments are you making this year, based on last year and what you don't have this year?
Well, everyone has to swing really well, like just get the ball in play and play to our standards and just come out strong on everything, knowing that we don't have that go-to hitter anymore. Like everyone just needs to do their job and be strong.
Yeah, as I alluded to last year, there was a little bit of pressure that the team sort of put on itself, but this year the pressure again is the fact that everybody is not looking past Williamsport, not only within the county, but even beyond. So with your eyes toward the postseason, only 4 regular season games after this week, how do you feel that you're progressing in terms of, playing the volleyball you want to be playing headed toward the postseason?
Well, I know our first game we struggled a lot, but we're getting much better and playing a lot harder and knowing the things we have to do.
And Courtney, as being a leader on this team and knowing this is your final year as a senior, in looking at that and viewing that, is there more pressure that you kind of take on your shoulders?
You notice, like last year, you realize, I have 4 games left. Well, I have another season next year. Now I have 4 games left of my high school career, possibly. So your eyes really widen and you see really what the big picture is of this is my last chance.
Yeah, it's a real, I guess, reality check in a way, and a real sense of urgency now this year. And you have the 2 losses that I mentioned, and you talked about it a little bit. I mean, this has been such a successful program that you haven't seen many losses, following those wins. And coming off the one against Musselman last week, talk about that game in particular and how that really helps you because you were swept 3-0.
Yeah.
You go outside the state to play that game. A lot of those girls anyway, and they play together a lot. Yeah. How does that help you playing a team that's that good?
We knew what we were going into. We did a lot of research on them. We studied them. We've played against them in club outside of school, and we just knew we were coming in for a hard match, and we haven't been swept in years, basically. And just to have that reality check, like, ooh, these girls are good. They've played all year round, and this is going to be some competition. But it helps us, like, we came to that next practice harder, faster, stronger. It helped us realize what we need to work on.
Now, on a personal level, you're on that national Under Armour senior watch list. Only 500 players in the entire country, only 10 in the state of Maryland. How does that make you feel?
Knowing that, it's an honor, really, to be, because I know some of the other girls that are on that list already going to D1 schools in our areas in California, and it's truly just an honor to be a part of that program.
Yeah, and certainly it is. Again, that's a very elite group. And Brooklyn, let me come back to you, because you still have, talking about teams that haven't been swept, a team that has not lost at least to this point, although they have North Hagerstown coming up this week, is Smithsburg. You still have them. That's the Volley for the Cure coming up next Tuesday. Big home match there. How much are you looking forward to that and possibly putting the first blemish on their record?
I'm looking forward to it a lot. I know it'll be a hard game. We just need to come out strong and just play every point good and do good.
Yeah, and as I said, obviously the point of emphasis right now is playing your best volleyball with the postseason to come. And again, that draw is coming up 2 weeks from Monday, the 28th, and then playoffs begin on Halloween of all days. So, any chance you'll be dressed up for that first match?
No, probably not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Maybe I'll be dressed up on the show. Better chance of that for sure. Well, thanks so much for being here, and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll be back right after this. We've got more Inside Sports just ahead. It's a potpourri of everything, and we'll close it out right after this.
What's bigger than a baker's dozen and a lot more exciting? Antietam Cable Sports Plus, 18 extra sports channels, MLB Network, Golf Channel, ESPNU, Big Ten Network, Outdoor Channel, World Fishing Network, Horse Racing TV, Fox College Sports, NFL Network, NFL Red Zone, every touchdown from every game every Sunday during the regular season, and more. Antietam Cable Sports Plus, just $7.99 per month. If you already have a digital box, you can get Sports Plus activated instantly. Call now, 301-797-5000.
Early detection is the key in the fight against breast cancer.
If you notice something, get it looked at. Don't wait. My biggest regret is I waited, and I ended up being stage 3 and 7 of my lymph nodes. So don't wait. If you think there's something wrong, get it taken care of.
Log on to antietamcable.com/stop breast cancer for links that could save your life.
Welcome back to the show. I still have soccer, cross country, and golf to get to, but first it's back to football. And I checked with the County 911 Center, and surprisingly, there were no calls Friday night to report an offensive explosion in Williamsport, where the Wildcats hosted North Hagerstown. The teams combined for 81 points and 1,033 yards of total offense in a game in which 10 of the 12 touchdowns scored covered 27 yards or more, and 8 were punched in from 50 yards or further away. Williamsport trailed just 14-12 after the first quarter, but then North's Isaiah Keys took over. Keys would score 30 of the game's next 55 points, 49 of those belonging to his Hubs, who extended their advantage to 28-18 at halftime and 49-18 after 3 quarters, on their way to a resounding 63-18 victory. After unexpectedly getting Week 4 off, Keys and North fittingly put up enough stats for 2 games. Number 2 became number 1 in the single-game record book at North Hagerstown by piling up 479 all-purpose yards and tying the mark for TDs with 5. Keys' 344-yard rushing effort fell just 19 yards shy of the school's single-game record, and he now owns the second and third longest interception returns for touchdowns in Hub history, adding Friday night's 96-yarder to Week 1's 92-yarder. Preston Carey chipped in 149 yards on the ground and a pair of touchdowns for North, who improves to 3-2 and will host 4-1 Boonsboro this Friday. As for Williamsport, Week 5 marked the 4th time Savon Brown ran and threw for a score in a game this season. It was also the 3rd time that both he and Jordan Stonebreaker rushed for over 100 yards in the same game, although none of those efforts have led to victory. The Wildcats are now 1-4, and 8 more touchdowns allowed than scored will do that to a team. They'll try to defend their turf Saturday on homecoming when they face 2-3 Catoctin. Last Saturday, to say Hancock played on turf would be far too kind to the field at the Maryland Academy of Technology and Health Sciences. Facing a 14-0 deficit in the third quarter, the Panthers finally found their footing on the treacherous terrain that was more akin to a science experiment than a football field behind Noah Teeter's offensive and defensive exploits. Teeter tallied 16 points of his own courtesy of an interception return, a pass reception, and 2 two-point conversions as the Hancock Panthers roared back after halftime for a 23-14 triumph. Hancock is now 4-1 with 0-4 Rappahannock County on deck on Friday. Clear Spring slipped to 1-4 last Saturday, losing in what has become classic Blazer fashion, getting just close enough in the end to make defeat excruciating. Clear Spring never led against Northern Garrett, but after closing to within 3 points on 2 occasions, had one final chance to forge ahead with under 2 minutes to play, but the Blazers' 5th turnover of the game sealed their fate. Clear Spring scored 15 more points in its only win of the season than it has in its 4 losses, which, oh by the way, have come by a combined total of 17 points. The Blazers traveled to Smithsburg on Saturday to take on a Leopards team they've never beaten in 9 tries. And St. James scored the game's final 14 points, but Potomac School had scored all but 7 of the first 49 as the Saints suffered a 42-21 setback in their Mid-Atlantic Conference opener. That sets up a meeting of 2 and 3 teams Saturday at St. James when the Saints host Flint Hill. So we're midway through the regular season, and if the season ended right now, Boonsboro would be in the playoffs as the 2A West's number 3 seed playing at South Carroll. Hancock would also be in. The Panthers would be the 1A West region's number 3 seed playing at North Carroll. In 3A West, South Hagerstown would miss the postseason by a mere 0.2 of a point. The Rebels are currently 5th, 1 spot out. North Hagerstown is 8th, but only 0.6 of a point back. The good news for the 2 Hagerstown schools is the season doesn't end today. In soccer, next week is the final one of the regular season, and at least one big game looms for the girls. The Antietam Conference Championship will be on the line on Thursday when 4-0 Williamsport hosts 4-0-1 Boonsboro. As for the boys, Williamsport had a solid week last week. The Wildcat boys won 2 key road games, upending Winters Mill 1-0 and defeating Mountain Ridge 2-1. Hart Weaver scored 2 of the 3 Williamsport goals in those games. Unfortunately, no Wildcat managed to score as Williamsport lost at home to Brunswick last Tuesday 2-0, effectively eliminating the Cats from conference championship contention. So it's the upstart South Hagerstown Rebels, now 4-0-1 in the Antietam, who get their shot at the conference-leading Railroaders next Tuesday at Brunswick. In cross country, Boonsboro claimed Smithsburg as its home away from home last Saturday. The Warrior boys and girls captured the large school team titles at the Don Stoner Invitational. The Boonsboro boys, paced by top 10 finishes from Sean Snyder, Brandon Turnbaugh, and Otto Solberg, outdistanced second-placed Waynesboro by 5 points, while the girls' win was a bit more decisive. The Warriors claimed 4 of the top 7 spots, with Megan Grams finishing first overall, Haley Wright placing third, Courtney Cunningham coming in right behind her, and Ella Hawkins taking 7th, good for a 53-point margin of victory. The wins bode well for Boonsboro teams going forward because 2 weeks from Thursday, they'll once again tackle the Smithsburg course with county crowns on the line then. And in golf, North Hagerstown edged out both St. Maria Goretti and South Hagerstown by 1 stroke to win the city championship Monday at Fountainhead. Goretti's Nicholas Steiner carded the day's lowest 9-hole score, a 39, followed by North's Drew Miguel with a 40 and South's Dylan Bickford with a 41. The Antietam Conference title will be decided next Friday at Black Rock. Well, it's getting to be that time of year where every game, meet, and match is bigger and every result has ramifications. It's just getting good, and you'll get it all here. Thanks for watching this time, and I promise there's more to come next week when I see you again on the inside.
Hey, your sisters and your brothers, your haters and your lovers, you gotta get up in the streets.